Tonight at 5, violent streets. Why an unusually high number of shootings in Aurora is a sign of more crime citywide.
Plus another death at a Colorado ski resort. And Democrats say they are moving as fast as they can to pass a stimulus bill. Will it be fast enough to keep benefits coming for needy families?
I have like $300 in savings.
Is it an unusually violent weekend or a typical one in Aurora? 5 people were injured in separate shootings within a span of 27 hours.
Thankfully, they should all survive. Let's quickly take you through them all. First, a man shot a few blocks from Children's Hospital. 2 hours later, someone shot at Colfax and Havana. Later that night, a security guard shot by a customer at a sports bar. Early Sunday morning, one person shot at a 7-Eleven, and then Sunday night, an 11-year-old shot multiple times.
Denver7's Gary Brode is joining us live tonight. And Gary, there were multiple people inside the apartment where that shooting happened.
And Anna, I spoke to one neighbor off camera who tells me he didn't get a great look at the suspects, but did see them opening fire very close to where I am right now. And as you look over here at the window and door of this apartment behind me, you can see and get a good idea of what I am talking about. Now, we counted more than 30 bullet holes in that apartment complex and the surrounding one. We know at least 2 of those shots did, in fact, hit that 11-year-old boy. Aurora police say, though, he is expected to be okay. A horrific weekend in Aurora.
We did have 5 shootings over the weekend, very concerning.
Capped off in an unspeakable way.
We currently have one patient, could be an 11-year-old male, conscious of breathing.
My son was programming my TV for me, you know, the channels and stuff. And all of a sudden,
This 63-year-old woman lives next door at the Liberty Creek Apartments. She asked Denver7 to keep her identity hidden.
It was just like unreal, you know, like I was in a twat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's like I was in a twilight zone, you know. But I thank God for watching over us, you know, because we could have been dead.
Her faith is strengthened by this reminder, a bullet hole in her kitchen where she was only minutes prior to the shooting. Another bullet pierced her living room, shattering through her sliding glass door as she and her son took cover.
And that's when I heard the gunshots, like pa 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 pa, and I got so scared I just knew he got hit, you know. So he, you know, kind of fell to the floor, you know. We were trying to, you know, get away. I said, close the door, close the door. Then he said, Mama, get back, and he had me go towards the, you know, like in the hallway.
She and her son are safe, but her 11-year-old neighbor was not. The Aurora Police Department says he was struck multiple times as 2 men fired round after round into the apartment with a family inside.
We're concerned about all of our shootings, all of our victims that are involved in any kind of violent crime. We're very concerned about, but I think, you know, crimes, especially violent crimes involving children, kind of affect us as well as the community in a different way.
Aurora police right now do not believe that 11-year-old boy was the target. However, they do believe the shooters did in fact mean to target that apartment behind me. Now, whether that's because of a prior tenant or the current one, well, that's something they're still investigating. Reporting live here in Aurora, Gary Brode, Denver7.
Yeah, still very scary. All right, Gary, thank you for that. All right, so let's revisit our original question. Is this a trend or an average weekend?
Aurora police began tracking all shootings as their own category 2 years ago. In 2020, the city averaged about 2 shootings per week. This weekend, 5.
Obviously, this weekend is an outlier, but the long-term trend indicates more violent crime in Aurora, too. From 2011 to 2020, when Aurora's population grew about 20%, the number of major index crimes like murder, robbery, and burglary went up 44%. The number of aggravated assaults grew by 200%.
In Denver, 18-year-old Nishan Johnson is being charged in connection to the murder of a 32-year-old woman. Police believe Johnson was the driver. His 14-year-old accomplice is accused of pulling the trigger. More than $28,000 has been raised in a GoFundMe for Pamela Cabriales, the victim of that shooting. The money will help her 6-year-old son, Leo, go to college. Pamela was a real estate broker. She was found with a gunshot wound in her SUV sitting in one of the lanes of Colfax near I-25. Police found 8 bullets in the windshield.
Just a few minutes ago, a Colorado House committee passed a bill making it a crime to leave your gun somewhere that a child could get to it. It would be a misdemeanor and a small fine. Gun dealers would also be forced to give you a lock when they sell you a weapon. Some opponents say it will get challenged and thrown out in court because it impacts Second Amendment rights.
A 16-year-old skier died after a crash this morning at Eldora Mountain. It's the second day in a row where someone died at that resort. A snowboarder died yesterday after crashing into a tree. And in a separate incident, 2 teen skiers collided and had to be taken to the hospital.
By the end of the week, Colorado will have given out about 1.5 million vaccine doses. Another 15,000 doses were given yesterday. More than 8% of the state is now fully vaccinated. And Johnson & Johnson began shipping about 4 million doses of its single-shot COVID vaccine today. Some people could get it as early as tomorrow. And here in Colorado, the first doses may not be given out until the end of the week. Today, state leaders said we have found the light at the end of the tunnel. Every resident and staff member at a long-term care facility has now received both doses of the vaccine. And as a result, the number of cases and deaths has dropped dramatically. At the start of the pandemic, this population was among the most vulnerable. Many have been isolated for months now. And so now the state is looking at ways to let families reunite with their loved ones.
We know how long this year has been for the residents of these facilities, their family, their staff. It has been incredibly difficult to navigate the challenges associated with this pandemic. And the light at the end of the tunnel gets bigger and bigger every single day.
Some Coloradans still feel left behind despite the strong vaccination numbers. John wanted to know why in heaven's name can the state of New Mexico have a single portal and the great and richer state of Colorado can't figure this out? This seems to be nothing more than a shameful free-for-all. While it's true that there is no one-stop shop for vaccine booking here in Colorado, there are tools which will help you search all available vaccine appointments in our state. One of them was built by a volunteer who wanted to help people just like John. We've posted a link to that tool and answers to many of your vaccine questions on the denverchannel.com/vaccines.
The clock is ticking for President Biden and Democrats in Washington. They're trying to push a $1.9 trillion stimulus package across the finish line in 2 weeks before some critical programs expire.
Joe St. George is in Washington to explain the hurdles ahead and what's ultimately in it for you.
March 14th is now quickly approaching. That's when bonus unemployment benefits expire for millions who are out of work.
The bill is passed.
While the House of Representatives passed their version of the bill over the weekend, this week we expect the bill to be changed in the Senate, all while the clock continues to tick. So what is in the stimulus bill right now? Well, $1,400 stimulus checks are included, and the Senate is not expected to change that. Unemployment benefits to workers and help for businesses will also stay. Aid to cities is expected to be included, but the amounts may change. The version that passed the House also expanded the child tax credit, and that is expected to remain. Parents would get $3,000 at least per child, up $1,000 from last year. Money to open schools and increase vaccine distribution will go up in this bill, but the $15 minimum wage hike will be taken out. The Senate simply doesn't have the votes to pass that right now. But that doesn't mean addressing the minimum wage is completely off the table. Senator Bernie Sanders is proposing tax penalties for corporations that don't pay their employees at least $15 an hour, and some Senate Republicans have proposed raising the minimum wage to a lower figure, like $10 an hour. What Democrats don't want to happen is a major delay this week threatening that March 14th deadline. Although if there is one thing Washington is used to doing is waiting until the last minute to pass laws. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
Amazon is not commenting on a White House video that appears to show President Biden supporting a union of Amazon workers. Now, the video posted last night on Twitter does not mention Amazon by name. However, he did directly address workers in Alabama, where a milestone union election is underway at an Amazon facility.
And there should be no intimidation, no coercion, no threats, no anti-union propaganda.
Now, there's never been a union in an Amazon facility. That includes the warehouses here in Colorado. The Alabama union vote will happen at the end of March.
It's been a mild, dry day today, but wait until you see how many days will be in the 60s.
Plus, the traffic ticket was bad, but things could get much worse for the doctor who showed up to Zoom court while in surgery.
And one industry is ready to capitalize on everyone's bottled up desire to party.
This week was the first time we got really positive news from our governor's office.